In this video, I'll be giving you 2 methods so that you can actually scrape and obtain all the email and contact information of your perfect prospects so that you can build profitable outreach campaigns.
By the way, this is part of a free mega course that goes extensively into everything that you'll need to know about growing your business and acquiring clients online, and how to do so scalably and repeatably. So if you want to see the entire course, then just click on the link below and you'll be able to see it for yourself.
Alrighty, so you are able to see my screen right now. I'll be sharing with you not 1, but 2 unique methods for you to actually generate all the emails that you need to build out your perfect lead lists. The first method is going to be a lot more time consuming and manual, but it will be much cheaper. And the second method will be a lot more time efficient, but it will be significantly more expensive. So it's ultimately up to you which one you prefer. I actually use the first method because even though it can be manual, I have a virtual assistant that can actually just do it for me. So in that case, I get the best of both worlds. I get to save money and I don't have to do any of the work myself because I've delegated all the annoyingness to my VA. So that's another option you can choose to use, having someone else just do the work. And by the way, a virtual assistant costs like between $4 to $7 an hour. So that's not necessarily a bad investment if you're hoping to offload some of your data admin. But with that being said, today I'm not going to be talking about a VA very much. So just take it as is. I'll be going through both processes right now, and both of them will be able to get you really, really high quality emails. So you're not going to really see much of a difference in terms of the quality of the contact information, all right? So the first method is going to involve Sales Navigator, which is the premium version of LinkedIn. This will cost you some money. It costs around $70 a month. And then it'll also require you Dripify, which is the other tool that this method 1 is going to require. Also, it's going to be between $70 to $100 a month. And I know you're thinking, hey, that's already like almost $200 a month. Believe me, that's not going to be very much money at all relative to the value that you'd be able to get by having thousands and thousands of emails to be able to reach out to, right? Obviously, if you can close even a handful of deals, that pays for itself like 100x. And certainly, this is still a bit of a cheaper method than the second option, which I'll be getting to at the later part of this section. That being said, Sales Navigator, premium version of LinkedIn, what it allows you to do is essentially build out these very specific and targeted lists based on the LinkedIn internal database. And this is really cool. You can filter by geography, by industry, by headcount in their employees, how long they've been around. Generally speaking, you're going to want to keep your overall search results under 3K because with the other tools that we're going to need to enrich and extract all the contact information, there's like a limit to how many people you can upload. So 4,000 would actually be too big of a list. So in the situation that you have a list which is too big, you're going to want to add additional filters to try to slim it down. Easy things that you can do is, for example, you could get rid of certain states, and that'll slim down the total audience. So you can do exclude functions. So there's a lot of different things. Just play around with it, and you'll be able to find out for yourself what is possible, okay? And then once you do that, you're going to want to save search. I'm not going to save it because I've already saved this search before, and the naming convention is pretty important just for like future organization. Just name it, you know, the collection of the filters I've used as easy reference, okay? So if you do have a lot of saved searches, by the way, best you just like keep them all in a spreadsheet somewhere so that you can access them later. I just find that the organization is pretty helpful. So once you have the Sales Navigator list, what do you do with it? Well, what you would do is you would upload them into Dripify. And this is actually a new way to enrich emails using Sales Navigator that I've only recently discovered. I actually have another video, I think, that I created maybe 6 months ago about enriching emails with LinkedIn. And I actually think that this method is better than the previous method, which used another set of tools, because this method actually has a higher percentage of successful enrichments. For example, like out of 100 leads inside Sales Navigator, the other approach that I talked about half a year ago was only able to maybe get like 40 to 50% enrichment, which means 50% of this list you're not going to ever find the email for. This method that I'm about to share with you gets like 80% enrichment. So you're getting significantly more emails on the same list. So that's why I like this particular method more. So Dripify is actually a tool which is more useful normally as a way to automate your LinkedIn outreach. But for this particular strategy that I'm talking about, you don't actually use it at all for messaging. You're strictly using it as a way to scrape leads. So what you're going to want to do is create a campaign which is specifically just to scrape. Okay, so you would essentially just click new campaign. You're going to want to first add the leads to this campaign. So just copy and paste the URL of the saved search that you made in the past, copy and paste it, and then put it here, then name it scraping campaign, because that's essentially what we're using this campaign for. We're just using it to scrape. I cannot spell today for some reason. Scraping. Oh my gosh. Scraping. There we go. 4th time is a charm. And then just click max, because by default, it's not going to let you upload all of it. So LinkedIn profiles found 2,475. And once again, the reason why we're not using a bigger list is because Dripify is going to have a limit to how many it can take. So if you can keep it under 3,000 or 2,500, that'd be ideal. So you would click create list. I'm not going to do it because I've already made the same list before. So I'm just going to click no here. And I'll show you what's going to actually look like once everything's been uploaded. Now you can see here, I've already uploaded the list. Views in the scraping campaign, I've uploaded that exact same list. And then you can see here, there's like almost 2,500 leads in here. Now, one of the things you're going to want to know is that normally Dripify does take a while to even process the uploading of the list. It might even take a full day. So like I said before, this first method does take a little bit more time. So be patient, upload it, and then you might need to wait a day for it to fully populate. I'm not entirely sure why it takes so long, but it does, and it is what it is, okay? So once everything has been successfully uploaded, what you're going to be able to see is essentially this. You're going to see all of these names. It's going to have where they're from. It's going to have some of their emails already pre-found, okay? That being said, some of them are not going to come in already found. You can see here, right? You're going to have to deal with some of them just not having an email, and then some of them you're going to have to actually just click manually to find email. Manually, and some of them they're not going to have an email at all. Some of them will, okay? So you're hoping that more will have emails than not, but you'll just have to deal with whatever the results are, okay? Now, the reason why I said earlier that Dripify will require you to spend a bit of money is because every time you successfully get an email, it does cost a credit, and you have to buy your credit. So out of the gate, the free plan, the free version of Dripify will give you just like 100 credits, but if you're using it to like massively get a bunch of emails, like 5,000, 10,000 emails, then you'll have to pay for it, but it's really not that expensive compared to most other options that I've found. So that's something that you should know. But the other thing that you're going to want to know is the fact that in order to get all these emails, you will have to manually click it one by one, which is kind of annoying. Like you can imagine if there's 25 pages of this and you have to click it one by one in a list of like 2,500 emails, it's a little bit annoying. And this is why I've actually delegated this part of the job to my virtual assistant, who can do it at like $5 an hour. So much, much easier. He just has login access to my entire Dripify profile, and he just does this and he just bangs it out in like half an hour to an hour. The later down like the list goes, the more likely the emails won't be found. That being said, you can see here, the first page here, almost every one of the emails are found. So overall, by the end of the entire like 2,500 list, I'll probably get 60 to 70% of it, maybe more. Now, once you've done this, the next step is you're gonna wanna export it. So you wanna select all 2,474 leads here, click select, and you're gonna export it. Now, I'm not gonna actually do this for you right now because like I don't want to and I don't need to, but you get the idea, export it, and what's gonna come out of it is a CSV, essentially a spreadsheet, which will look something like this. It'll look something like this, okay? You'll have first name, you'll have last name, and what we actually need to do right now is we need to fix this spreadsheet because there is something wrong with spreadsheet that makes it impossible for us to be able to upload it into the next step. And what is that next step? The next step is actually using a tool called ClearOut. And essentially what this tool does is it allows us to verify which of the emails that Dripify gave us are actually good emails. Because the problem is some percentage of the emails in this list will be bad. They won't be deliverable. Maybe they've left that job. Maybe the email is no longer active. And what you do not want to do is send out all these emails and then have like a 5 to 10% bounce rate, or even worse. Because if you have a high bounce rate, then it's going to be bad, and Google will start flagging your email domain as being like spammers, because normal people shouldn't be emailing a bunch of people who have like broken emails. So you're hoping to avoid this. This clear out tool essentially will allow you to find of the CSV which ones are actually like good emails. And then once you run it through, it'll filter all the bad ones out and you can just like download the CSV. And that's the one that you'll actually use in your campaigns. But like I said before, the way that this spreadsheet has been formatted from Dripify is like not good for clear out. You can't upload this. It'll just give an error message. So I want to share with you right now how you can actually make it usable. So what you want to do is just have a Google Sheet. And then you're going to want to copy and paste this entire sheet that Dripify gave you, and you're going to just want to replace the blank sheet with it. Okay? So imagine there was like a blank sheet here, and I just copy and pasted it over it. So now this is the exact same thing as the CSV before. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to insert a column to the right, and you're going to want to name an email. Okay? You're going to want to name an email, and what you're going to want to do is just copy and paste this this specific snippet. Just copy and paste it. And if you need to look at it, you can look at it, just copy and paste it, okay? And essentially what I have done with this particular formula is I've essentially created a third column which has all the emails. Whereas you can see here, column 1, which is like some of the emails, and column 2 has some of the emails, but there's spaces. What you want to do is essentially combine all the emails into one column so that you have like a master column of all the emails, minimizing all the blank space. So name this email, and then you've actually fixed the sheet. So let me explain to you how this formula works, just in case you can't directly copy and paste it. It's an if-then statement. Essentially, what you want to do is if this column is filled, this column should return whatever is in here. But if this column is empty, then this column should return whatever is in here. And this allows you to essentially have this column have all the emails possible. So the formula essentially is if this exists, then this will be that. And if it doesn't exist, then it'll be that, essentially. So now that you have this, you're going to want to then click File, and then you're going to want to click Export into a CSV. Okay? Once you have this as a CSV, and I'm not going to do it once again because I've already done it, but once you have the CSV, then you can upload that same CSV into ClearOut here, add list, browse file, add list, and then it'll essentially allow you to do what it is that I've already shown here. You can click verify, and then it'll allow you to just download the list. And there you go. You actually have your list that you could now use inside your email campaigns. This takes a little bit of a process, right? You got to wait for Dripify to process all the leads, and then you got to like click a bunch of things or have your VA do it, and then you got to enrich it, and then you got to push into ClearOut. It's a lot of effort. But what you get out of this is a very low cost way of getting all the emails that you need, and they're high quality emails, okay? So what is the easier way, you might be asking? The easier way is essentially an all-in-one tool, and it's going to be significantly more expensive because now you're actually going to be paying like per email, and it'll probably end up being 5 to 10 times more expensive, but you do get to save some time, right? So essentially Apollo.io has like a built-in database, which is kind of similar to Sales Navigator. So for example, you can put in a job title, you can put in location, you can do all this stuff, and then once you actually have this, you can actually just select everything on the page, and then you can essentially just find the contact. So for example, you can click access email, and you can do this in bulk. You can do this by the thousands if you really wanted to. Obviously you have to pay a lot of money, but you can do it by the thousands, and then you could just, as soon as you have everything that you need, you can essentially just automatically export to CSV. So you can imagine this is quite a lot faster. You don't need to manually click stuff. You don't need to have a virtual assistant help you out. You can just export the CSV, and then once the CSV has been exported, you can then do the same thing, push it into ClearOut, because some percentage of these emails are also going to be a bit older, and you'll hopefully return back like 60 to 70% of those emails as usable. And that's it. Much faster, but like I said, much more expensive, because if you were to use Apollo and you want the ability to mass export, I'm pretty sure it's like $5,000 a year or something like that. But now you have two really, really effective ways to get the access to the emails that you need so that you can ultimately hit them up on email campaigns, all right?